Hi.
Well, hello and welcome to our front yard garden in the South Carolina Upstate. It's February 7th. This is our first episode of 2025, and this is my lovely wife, Jenny, who is out doing some gardening for the first time. We got about a 75-degree sunny day here, and she's going to show you how our garden came to be with some of the planting that we're doing, and right now we're putting in some bulbs. What kind of bulbs are these?
These are just stargazer lilies, and I got them from Walmart. This is the time of year, no matter where you live, that you might want to try to buy these. Wherever you buy them, though, make sure, even if it's online, that you have a guarantee that each bulb is firm, okay? And you want to...
Soft bulbs or bad bulbs?
Yes. And you don't...
Because they're rotting.
Yeah.
Or dehydrated.
And you have to kind of take the dirt off to make sure that there's no green or any type of fungus on them. And I can't emphasize enough, especially in the upstate, we have horrible soil. Even way back hundreds of years ago, they could not grow cotton here. They couldn't grow anything in the upstate because the soil is so bad. So what I had to do, and it does cost money, or you can do it yourself with like generic Miracle-Gro or Miracle-Gro soil, you need loamy soil. And this is loamy soil, meaning that it doesn't have too much clay and it doesn't have too much sand. And so that way your bulbs do not rot. So that's what you want. Now in this area, I call it kind of my dead area, because in the upstate, the trees that you see, they love the dirt that I had put in about 5 years ago. And so the roots are everywhere. So when you see roots like this, the tree doesn't need them. They get in the way, the bulbs need them. So just trim all that out and just throw it away. And I have certain outfits that I wear for crafting or gardening. I've been gardening for 30 years. So for me to kneel out on rocks and everything is no big deal. Most gardeners, though, you can buy it like the dollar store, even those green kneeling pads to kneel on. But like I say, I'm kind of immune to that at this point. So you want to make sure that you get your bulb in correctly. And the way to do that is, for the lilies, you see, this is the roots, and you love seeing this new growth on top. And you just kind of nestle them down. Now, if you live up north, you want them a little deeper. When we lived in Ohio, I would have put these about 2 inches deeper. But since we're in the upstate, you don't have to do that as much.
Yeah, just for those of you in other areas of the country, here in the upstate, we had a very cold December and January with lows in the 20s and teens almost every night. This month so far has been considerably warmer, and looking at the forecast, we probably won't go below freezing again. Or if we do, it might just go down to about 32. So we don't have to be so worried about things freezing. And really, from this point on out, we'll get, like, next week's supposed to be in the 40s and 50s and rainy, but plants don't mind that as long as it's above freezing. So yeah, you can get away with a lot more in the South.
And my favorite brand name for trowels, scissors, anything is Friskers. It's cheap. You can get it at Walmart. Of course, I always lose mine in the garden. This year I'm going to spray paint them bright orange, because I lose everything in the garden, including some diamond rings somewhere.
There's another bulb
there, yeah.
Sometimes you got to be careful you don't dig up bulbs you just planted. We run into that sometimes.
And this is creeping Jenny here. This will come out later, but you can dig through it and your bulbs will come up, and then you have this summer this nice lime green color, and it just is a ground cover. So don't be afraid to dig into it, especially at this time of year. Once it's growing, you could hurt the plant more, but whenever you have a spring day like this, it's really
Go crazy.
yeah. So this one's really easy to see, right? Look at that. Nice growth, nice roots. And again, we found these at Walmart.
These are still Stargazer lilies?
That's correct. Yep. I'm gonna put,
Look at the growth on that one.
yeah, 3 there. And then, like this year, we need to do mulching. And so we have to hire that out because I'm getting too old. I can't do it anymore. I have fibromyalgia
And she's already 30 years old, so she really can't
no,
can't do these kinds of things.
I'm in my 50s. But you just want to be careful when you tell your mulchers, or put popsicle sticks. Those are real cheap. You can put those in. I do that sometimes before they come out. I'll go and I'll just kind of crawl around my garden. I'll put bright popsicle sticks so that they know not to step on this. And then we'll just keep moving over that way. I'm really curious to see if these bulbs will do anything here, because of the root problem, as you can see. So these, I will be very curious to see if they come up, how much they bloom. We had to do this whole garden over when we moved here 6 years ago. There weren't any beds, nothing. And our first person that came out, he put all these rocks on the edge that I didn't want.
Unfortunately, they've just over time, they've sort of
Infiltrated.
they've infiltrated gradually back into the garden, and the ones on the edges have sort of gotten buried. So it really was not a long-term landscaping solution, and it's really just sort of, well, not sort of, but it's definitely gotten in the way of gardening in years to come.
But the good thing about these rocks, what I use them for are for the planters that I have, that I'll plant, and I can show you how to plant planters. Super easy. But you have to have a lot of holes beneath your planter, and then a really nice layer of rock, and then good soil. For pots, I definitely recommend like Miracle Grow or the generic of Miracle Grow. They will do a lot better. But you need the rocks and the drainage holes at the bottom, because otherwise your plants could die from being too wet. So I've done that up north and down here. And you don't have to spend all of that money, especially if you live up north, but in the south, if you overplant your planters, you don't have to buy those really expensive ceramic, but they're beautiful containers. You can use, like my girls are done playing with their toys, so I've been using containers that are plastic, but I overplant them so that you can't even see.
Yeah, we're using
the color.
Buckets that have Disney characters on them from
Yeah.
that we took to the beach probably 15 years ago, and we're not doing a whole lot of that now, so we're using them for gardening.
Yeah. So that's the end right now for the Stargazer lilies. We're going to move out back.
And you can see also where she's put some other things in. We already have
And why?
Stargazer lilies here, same reason, and then over here gladiolus, 2 different groups of gladiolus, and then we just leave the containers there so we know where they were and what they were, where they are, and what plants they are. We've had, if you've watched any of our videos in the past, we had gladiolus in the backyard, but we think one of the problems there is that they were getting too much water. They were at a low point in the yard. Here, that's not going to be an issue, so we thought they might do a little bit better. It's still full sun, so we'll see. And one nice thing too, you can experiment because, as you can see on the packaging, 16 bulbs there, only $5.42. It's not like you're spending a fortune to put these things in, and if one group doesn't do so well, oh well. But you're by making sure that the bulbs are high quality, like Jen was talking about, making sure that they're sizable, they're solid, they don't have black spots and soft spots on them. You're really going to do much better. So we're going to go around to the backyard and do a separate video for that. In the meantime, while she's moving things around, since this is our first video of the year, there isn't a whole lot to show being spring, but we do have our first daffodils out. And this patch is already, has been in bloom now for about 5 days. I think we had a day earlier in the week that was close to 80 degrees. I think it was close to a record, and that's when these opened up. Now this one is already done. I think the others will start to put buds up pretty soon. We have a few others here in the front that are going to, in fact, one is open right now, and there are a few buds along with it. So we should get some more of these daffodils pretty soon. And then over here, even though it's only February, we've got tulips coming up. It'll probably be a month before we get actual flowers on those, but it's always exciting to see that. And over here, let's see, where was it? Oh yeah, kind of the same thing. Some more tulips just breaking the ground, just starting to come up. And I think if we look more closely at this bed, we're going to see more of that. Yeah, here we've got hyacinths coming up, and actually something I was completely unaware of. We have hyacinths that are already fully in bloom in the backyard. I did not catch that until today. And so again, it's only February 7th and we're already seeing our spring garden come out. And typically when we lived in Ohio, we weren't seeing any of that for about another 6 weeks. Now, something else, I was showing this in the fall, but they hadn't really come out to this extent. The holly bushes, and I think most of you know I'm not a big fan of these. They're very invasive and they have a tendency to take over your yard, but they have finally given us a lot of the really bright orange berries. We have not had much of that in previous years here, but they've just kind of reached I guess a certain level of maturity where we're getting all these. I'm sorry? Okay. I am being summoned for shoveling, but I'll just show these off real quickly. Our little citrus orchard. I've always talked about this as well. Our lemon trees, not really doing a whole lot. I have a couple that have a bunch of buds on them, but those I've moved in because I wanted to protect them when we had our cold spell last month. These 3 lemons, and then, I'm sorry, this is an orange here. Has never given us any buds. This lemon has given us buds, but nothing for the last year or two. So I don't know what this year will hold. Don't know what these are going to do either. They're alive. That's a good start. So we will see what happens here. So back to doing some digging. I'm going to do the digging. I don't want you to throw your back out. Here.
Thank you. Okay. So,
Have on me.
okay.
On that, where we're digging. How far down do you want me to go?
About 3 inches or 4. So this area is full of roses. You wouldn't know it. I always do cleanup in the spring. Never before. I like things to compost as much as possible, including the leaves. You can see I just took away with my hand the leaves here so that it's easier digging. This is behind a bed that's just, like I say, full of roses that are not climbing roses, everything. They're not supposed to grow in the upstate at all. But I'm a determined English cottage gardener, and I make things work. But
Is that deep enough? You want more?
yeah, that's deep enough. And then, but I need a whole row out. So what he's doing for me, I used to be able to dig till fibromyalgia and etc. He's digging in a place where I'm going to use this as a cutting garden. So the glads are multicolored, and I'm just going to put them all back here. And the great thing about gladiolas, again, these were good size. You don't want them to look small. You want them to look the size of this. Let me get them out. You know, you want, compared to my hand, you want a decent sized glad. Some of them are tiny. You don't want that. They might not bloom. You want a decent sized glad. And like with any bulb, you feel around, make sure there aren't rotten ones. And then gladiolas are wonderful because they come in so many colors. And they actually, if you cut them right when they're getting, the bottom part is blooming, they last sometimes longer in a vase inside with, like, say, half of a baby aspirin rolled up and put in the water. They actually last longer inside than outside, depending on where you live. If you live up north, they can last longer there, but the heat here, I kind of use these for my indoor flowers. All right, and that's that.